University of Minnesota. She was a recipient of the Outstanding Teaching Award, so her teaching must be good. And also, she has an Outstanding International Scholar Award from the International School Psychology Association. And also, she is a recipient of the Knowledge Exchange Award from the Faculty of Social Science at Hong Kong U. At this moment, I think I was told she's enjoying the weightlifting exercises. And then now she is actually the director of the Jockey Club Peace and Awareness, and also the Mindfulness in School Culture Initiative. And it is her aspiration and her mission, I think, to promote, I think, the mental health of students, teachers, and parents in Hong Kong through the training and the research in the mindfulness. So without further delay, let's welcome Sui Fong. And then she said that she's going to finish her talk by 7, and then we'll give sufficient time, I mean, for you to ask any question. Okay?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I'm so glad that that's in the early evening that we have a time that can share what mindfulness is, and then what work and research our projects, the PandA projects. We call ourselves the PandA because you can see the title of our project, Peace and Awareness. P and A is PandA, so that we have a panda as our icon. Okay, I will tell you in this 40 minutes or so, I would like to share with you what we have done in the past several years and what we are going to do in the next year or so. Okay, now, first of all, how many of you have gone through some training in mindfulness? Oh, we do have some people who have completed mindfulness training. Okay, now, but I would like to first try to look at what mindfulness is and look at its effectiveness and trying to see that how mindfulness can be applied in education. First of all, okay, now what is mindfulness? That's this definition is offered by John Kabat-Zinn, the pioneer who has applied the secular mindfulness in the medical and counseling and mental health sector. This is how he defined mindfulness. Mindfulness means the awareness that arises by paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. Okay, now, if you look at every single word, you know what it is. But somehow when they are put together, becomes very elusive. You do not know what exactly it means. Okay, now, I would like to invite our panda with our icon. His name is Ching Ching. To use very layman language to explain what mindfulness is. Okay, here's come Ching Ching.
晴晴啊，唔好瞓覺啦，陪我去玩啦。我唔係瞓覺啊，我喺度練習緊靜觀啊。靜觀？不如等我話俾你聽咩係靜觀啦。我哋只需要喺生活上留意自己當下嘅經歷，例如身同心嘅狀態，而唔需要批判係好定係壞，咁就係靜觀啦。好似都唔係好難，但係點解要練習靜觀啊？好多時，當我哋生活上因為唔同嘅原因，例如同人鬧交或者好擔心嘅時候，會令到個心好亂，連眼前嘅事物都睇唔清楚啊。而靜觀就可以幫我哋定落嚟，更清晰咁睇到當下。哇！我都想試下。咁你跟我嚟啊！
Now, this is how we try to explain the elusive mindfulness concept to the layman. This is Ching Ching, the PandA, our ambassador, to define that what is mindfulness by paying attention on purpose and non-judgmentally at the present moment. Okay, now let's look at this graph. You can see that in the last 40 years or so, that you can see the exponential increase of the numbers of research published in international journals. Now, back in the 1980s is where I have my undergraduate study, that it betrayed my age, okay? At that time, there was almost zero. Okay, now I can imagine if at that time that I went to my thesis supervisor and asked her to supervise me on mindfulness or maybe 靜坐 or 禪修, and I must be scolded by my supervisor. There's a nonsense. Do something that's more meaningful, please. Okay, now, but nowadays you can see that mindfulness is no longer some kind of alternative kind of medicine or alternative medical procedures. Actually, it is quite mainstream. Even in the last several years, some of my PhD students are actually working on mindfulness. And in this exponential increase of publication on mindfulness, there seems to be a convergence finding. They found that mindfulness can reduce stress, anxiety, and depression, and also reduce the activity of amygdala, and let it less active, and also maybe increase the gray matters of the prefrontal cortex. And it also enhances immune system and also enhances quality of life and wellness. Okay, now you may be curious about why mindfulness was so effective. Of course, I can again go through the very kind of use a lot of the technical terms, the jargons in psychology to explain the effectiveness. Here, I would like to invite Ting Ting, the ambassador, to explain why mindfulness is so effective. Here, come Ting Ting again.
點解靜觀有咁多好處嘅？不如等最新嘅腦神經科學話俾我哋知啊！練習靜觀可以改變我哋大腦嘅結構同埋運作，例如靜觀可以促進大腦前額葉皮層嘅活動同發展，幫助我哋做決定同埋集中注意力。靜觀亦都可以減少杏仁核嘅活動，令到我哋冇咁容易受情緒影響。其實除咗腦神經科學，有一個中文字都好解釋到靜觀點解有效用㗎。念呢一個字由金字同心字組成，意思係將心放喺當下。抑鬱通常都包含咗對過去嘅悔恨，焦慮就係對將來嘅擔憂，而靜觀就係將我哋嘅心帶返嚟而家呢度，唔使悔恨過去或者擔憂將來，讓我哋可以活在當下。
Here, our PandA explained the effectiveness of mindfulness in layman terms. Usually, anxieties vary about the future, and depressions and usually involve the rumination about the past. When you can direct your attention at the present moment, at least you may have some respite. That means you will no longer worry about the futures and rumination about the past. And this is why it is effective. Because of its effectiveness, we can see that mindfulness has been applied in many different domains. For example, like you can see that the Lakers, Kobe Bryant, unfortunately, that he passed away in an accident 3 years ago. You can see that in the middle, that was the coach, Phil Jackson, that he was the one who used mindfulness to train his team. And also you can see that mindfulness is implied in the medical setting, that in fact in Hong Kong, the Castle Peak and also Kwai Chung Hospital, that mindfulness-based interventions is actually some standard protocol for people who suffer from depressions and anxiety. And also we see that mindfulness also applied in prison. That you can see that here with some prisoners practicing mindfulness. And also that you can see that search inside yourself, you can see that this is actually the logo of the Google, that the mindfulness is also applied in corporate, in business, to promote the productivities of the employees. Okay, now, but you can see that mindfulness can apply into many different domains. But there's one sector that had been quite delayed in its application and development, that is the school setting. That there's a lot of research about mindfulness in the medical field or maybe in the business field, but there's not many in the school. And actually, the mindfulness applied in the school setting is only very recent, in the last decade or so. But we all know that the best entry point for prevention is in school. Okay, now we don't wait until our students were sent to hospital, then we teach them mindfulness-based intervention. That's perhaps we may be able to do a lot of the preventive work in the school setting. If mindfulness is helpful for mental health, why don't we apply it in the school setting? As a school psychologist who have the background in providing services and doing research in the school setting, and this is my aspiration, that because I see the evidence of the effectiveness of mindfulness, and I really hope that I can introduce mindfulness in the school setting. We all know that the situation in Hong Kong, particular education sector, is actually a pressure cooker. As Paul just mentioned, that the suicide rates about the adolescent and the children is high, and here is the situations of the mental health in Hong Kong. Now here, that's a statistic that in 2022, that's Baptist Oi Kwan Social Services, that they did a survey and found that 36% of the secondary school students display moderate to serious symptoms of depressions. And 58% of them display moderate to serious symptoms of anxiety, depression and anxiety. And we also see that there's a lot of students who commit suicide between these academic years of 2018, 19 to 2019 to 20. And also the suicide rate of the student below the 15 years old rose from 0.7%, 0.7 per 100,000 in 2019 to 1.7 in 2021. And this is the quite astonishing and depressing statistic. Then we look at the teachers in Hong Kong. They are also not doing well. We can see that in 2018, a survey done by the Hong Kong Professional Teachers Unions and the Clinical Psychology Divisions of the Hong Kong Psychological Society show that 30% of the teachers display moderate to serious symptoms of depression. 1/3. Okay, and also we see that 12 to 13% had serious symptoms of depression. When we look at the general populations, that's the rate is around 2.5. Then you can see that teaching, I do not know how many are teachers here. Teaching is really a high-risk profession. Okay. You can imagine that you send your children to school. Okay, now in the school there are 60 teachers. 60 teachers, at least 20 of them are suffering from depression or anxiety. And this is quite stunting statistics. And also that recently in 2020, that's the Hong Kong Federations of Education Worker, not Gaohip, okay, that they also found that 50% of the teachers work more than 61 hours per week, and 23% of them work more than 71 hours, and 85%, the majority of them feel moderate to extreme level of stress. Okay, now then let's look at the parents. They are not doing well neither. Okay, student, teachers, and also parents. Then here, the survey, they provide the statistic of the mental health of the parents. You can see that in 2018, that the Kowloon Women Organization Federations did a survey, and they found that 70% of the mom always feel irritated and angry. And 42% of the dads feel that And feeling exhausted and listless, mom 62% and dad 56%. You may have concluded, oh, father had better mental health than women. I would protest against this. It's all because who did all the house chores at home and who take care of the children, particularly to make sure that they did well in the dictation. It's the mom. So the mom will be under lots of the pressure. Okay, it's not because the dad is more resilient. I do not, as a woman, I would say no, because of the role in the family. And also you see that in 2022, just 2 years ago, the Hip Hop Society did a survey and also found that 56% of the parents with SEN students display mild to serious symptoms of depression. Okay, now, given all these terrible statistics, then we know that education really needs mindfulness. Okay, now here, that's why I would like to initiate the project, the PandA project, in 5 years ago. That our project, the PandA project, was established in 2019, which is 5 years ago. And we fortunately, we got the funding from the Jockey Club Charity Trust. Okay, so that with this funding, we are able to launch a intervention cum research projects. That means our project have, number one, of course, we do a lot of services. We try to introduce mindfulness to the schools in Hong Kong. And also we do a lot of research. Now you can see that we have, I highlight our target students. We try to introduce the mindfulness course as the SEL, the social emotional learning curriculum in school. And also that we try to empower the school teachers, which teach mindfulness to the teachers. We do not only teach them mindfulness, we teach them how to teach mindfulness. Now, here's 2 steps. First, you have to know what mindfulness is. Second, you know how to teach mindfulness. There are 2 steps. Okay, now, and I always feel that one cannot teach mindfulness. You can only share it. You cannot share something that you do not have. Mindfulness is not something like a cookbook. You read it and then you teach. There's nothing something like that. You have to really practice it. You really love it and you really practice it. And actually, mindfulness is not only a kind of skills. It is actually the life attitude arise from that practices. Okay, now, so it's very important that the teachers themselves are the mindfulness practitioner before they can teach. So that we try to empower the teachers so that they can offer mindfulness courses to their students. So that you can see that we are using the train the trainer approach. That means the project, we have actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mindfulness teachers in our projects, including Dennis and Michael our colleagues sitting in the front row. Okay, now 5 of us, how can we teach mindfulness to so many students in Hong Kong so that we use the train the trainer, we teach teachers so that the teachers can teach the students. Okay, then we also do 1 step more. We try to empower the school professional helpers, the school social workers, and also the counselors, the educational psychologists, because we know that then one day when our PandA project is close up, okay, now, then who are going to do the job? Okay, now, we try to mobilize the existing resources in the system because social workers and the educational psychologists and counselor, they are the people who already got the taxpayer monies to provide services to teachers and to parents and to students. Okay, now we try to train the teachers so that the teachers know how to provide counseling courses to students, right? Okay, now, but if we fade out, then who are going to teach the teachers? Okay, now we look at the educational psychologists, the counselor, and the social workers. We equip them so that we hope that they are able to provide the 8-week mindfulness courses to teachers so that the training can still go on, become sustainable without us, okay? And also that we offer parents mindfulness program, mindful parenting to parents. Okay, and also we try to help the professionals, the educational psychologists, counselors, and also the social workers, so that they can offer 8-week mindfulness courses to parents. Okay, and last but not least, okay, now we focus at the school level, because we see that it is not only to introduce some sort of programs. Actually, it is a kind of culture, because you can see that the name of our projects, particularly, you can see that mindfulness culture in school. That means we focus on developing the culture, because you can imagine that if one teacher is a mindful practitioner and try to offer the course to the student in maybe Monday morning, 10:30 to 11:30. Okay, that's it. But the rest of the curriculum in the school and all the other peoples are not mindfulness practitioner. They are doing something against it. And even the parents at home are not mindful enough. You can see that would be no effect at all. So that we hope that we can help the schools have the culture, develop the culture, a whole school approach. So that's the way that we develop that is, of course, this is a long way to do it, because introducing 1 or 2 programs is easy. But you try to change the culture, transforming the school culture, it takes a lot of time, and also a lot of patience, and also a lot of insight. And sometimes that we need to step back and not be too striving. If you are interested in all the nitty-gritty and also all the failures experience that we have, that's perhaps we can wait until the last 15 to 20 minutes. I will tell you what it is. But you can see that this is our mission, that we hope that we are not only the students, the teachers, the helping professionals, the parents, and also the school. Okay, so then now here is another video that tells you that what our project is doing in terms of the services and also the intervention. Here, like this time, Ching Ching is not there. Actually, this is our team. Here, that will try to tell the particular teachers, because this is important. You can know that every time that when we try to help a school develop the school culture in mindfulness, there must be some kind of consensus. Then where does the consensus come from? First, we try to, of course, sometimes we use the top-down approach, sometimes we use the bottom-up approach. And one of the most convenient way to do so is that we knock at the door of the school and ask, okay, now if you have some kind of staff development workshop, we would like to come to share mindfulness with the entire faculty members of the school. And this is the video we always play in that kind of staff development workshop as a kind of lobby. Okay, now tell you, okay, what we are doing, what will you experience? And then of course, that we have a lot of animation done by Ting Ting to tell them what mindfulness is and the effectiveness of mindfulness and also the benefit of it. Okay, now this is one of the video clips that we hope that we can do the education, because without the education, without the awareness, the people would not buy what you say. Okay, here is one of the video that we show to the teachers during the staff development workshop, try to gain their support, try to hope that they can form some kind of consensus so that they can join our project. 香港學生同埋教師嘅精神健康，一直係社會關注嘅議題。近年嚟，教育界好重視正向教育，希望能夠建立正面樂天嘅校園文化。有好多嘅研究證明靜觀能夠改善成人嘅身心健康，但喺教育界，靜觀嘅應用同埋研究仍然喺一個起步嘅階段。有見及此，香港賽馬會慈善信託基金撥款俾香港大學社會科學學院推行一個為期6年嘅計劃， 賽馬會樂天心情靜觀校園文化行動。
賽馬會樂天心情同9間遍佈港九新界唔同地區，有多元傳統同埋宗教背景嘅資源學校合作。呢9間資源學校包括小學、中學同埋特殊學校。喺6年嘅計劃期間，我哋會同9間資源學校緊密合作，建立靜觀校園文化。而且呢9間資源學校作為地區樞紐，會為75間協同學校提供支援，推廣靜觀校園文化。
我哋嘅計劃咧，採取訓練導師 train the trainer 模式，首先俾老師啦上8週嘅課程，體驗一下靜觀，然後再向佢哋咧提供靜觀導師嘅培訓，等佢哋可以翻學校教翻自己學生靜觀嘅。我哋亦都會培訓學校嘅輔導人員，例如教育心理學家、社工、學生輔導員，令到佢哋成為靜觀導師，向學校裏邊嘅老師啦或者家長提供靜觀嘅培訓。我哋希望呢個訓練導師模式啦，可以喺學校建立一個可持續嘅靜觀校園文化。
除咗喺學校推廣靜觀校園文化，我哋呢個計劃亦希望將靜觀帶俾公眾，提升社區嘅精神健康。未來嘅重點活動包括靜觀共修、靜觀工作坊、靜觀退休營、靜觀分享會，同埋專為家長而設嘅靜觀教養課程。
我哋喺學校引入咗3套靜觀課程，分別以小學生、中學生、老師為對象。另外，我哋嘅團隊亦都同老師合作，研發融入式嘅靜觀課程，將靜觀帶到去唔同嘅學科。為咗方便學生、老師、家長同公眾認識同埋練習靜觀，呢個計劃亦都開發咗一個名為樂天心情嘅手機應用程式。詳情請瀏覽賽馬會樂天心情嘅網站 www.jcpanda.hk。
So this is our pitching. Okay, now here I show you the summary of the impact, the work we have done. Okay, now this is very wordy, but you can see that what we try to really offer is, number one, we provide the mindfulness training. You can see that the number that we have in the last 5 years or so, we have offered 8-week mindfulness courses to more than 1,000 teachers in Hong Kong. 8 weeks, that means every week there would be 1.5 hours of sections in 8 consecutive weeks. And also that the teachers would do at least 20 minutes daily practice as part of the requirement of the course. And also that this is the 8-week mindfulness course is the entrance. After they have completed the 8-week mindfulness course, then they are eligible to engage in the mindfulness teacher training course. That means we try to train them to teach .B, POSS B, which is the secondary school and primary school curriculum on mindfulness. That's in the past 5 years or so, we all have trained almost 500 teachers as mindfulness teachers. And also, as you say, that in order to persuade and convince the teachers the benefits of mindfulness, we have done a lot of staff development workshop. You can see that we have done over 100 of them going around in the school in Hong Kong, try to let them know more about mindfulness so that they can form some kind of consensus among their colleagues. Okay, and also that's number 2, you can see that we offer the mindfulness training that offer to the primary and secondary school students, and almost you can see that 9,000, actually the number would be more. I think it's more than 10,000 already, but these students are not trained by us because there are only 5 of us in our office. There's no way that we can teach 10,000 students. These students are taught by their teachers, because we train their teachers so that the teacher can train the students. And also with offer mindfulness training to parents. So far, we have run many mindfulness courses, the 8-week mindfulness courses to more than 100 parents. And also there are lots of the parent talk, over 6,000. And we also do a lot of the knowledge exchange in the public education. Of course, the last one, the research. We also do research because as we said that we are the intervention research project. Without the research data, we are unable to convince the people that mindfulness is helpful, because this is part of the important thing about this project is we are not only doing a lot of marketing roadshow, convincing people to join, but we have to really present the hard data showing them really. Okay, now let's see what we have done so far in terms of the knowledge exchange. You can see that on the left-hand side, that is what we do. We have the mindfulness interventions. We also introduce the school curriculum. We do a lot of consultations and also a lot of supervision section to the mindfulness teachers. We offer supervisions to the teacher. We have a lot of after-sales service. That means we do not only offer training to the teacher so that they know how to teach mindfulness. We also offer supervisions. Make sure that what they are doing is really up to the par. And also that we do a lot of the publications, talks, sharings, and also that we do a lot of mindfulness gathering activities. And on the right-hand side, you can see that they are the recipients, the parent, the school management, the teachers, the helping professional, the students, the trainers of helping professionals, the general public, and also the professional from other projects. And also they are the people that we serve too. Okay, now let's see that at different level, what we have done. Okay, now, as I said that our mission is to develop school culture. Okay, now, first, let's look at the school culture level. Okay, now, so far, that's the JC PandA project. In the 6 years, we have served more than 80 primary and secondary schools. 80, actually, the actual number 84. What is the total numbers of secondary school and primary school in Hong Kong? It's less than 1,000. So that you can see that we are almost like a little bit less than 10%. Okay, now, what we do is that we use a kind of ripple effect. First, we try to establish some resource school or seed school. They are seed or resource because they are the pioneers. Okay, now, if we start the project with all at once, serving 80 schools, this is impossible. No way we can do that. We have to do it step by step. First of all, we make sure that we can work closely with 9 schools in the first and second years. Okay, now develop them so that they become the role model in their districts. And we particularly invite those with very different religious background. Buddhist, Taoist, Catholic, Christian, or secular school. Okay, so that in order to dispel the myth that mindfulness is religious or particular Buddhist. Okay, now we make sure that the mindfulness that we try to offer, try to promote is empirical based, scientific, and also that secular. Okay, now you can see that the purple dot our resource school. Okay, now they are in different part of Hong Kong, and then they would offer their school as a resource hub. So that's actually that every year that Dennis, Michael, me, and also my colleagues would go into this 9 school to teach 8-week mindfulness courses. For example, the one up in Shui, very far away. Okay, now that is the school that's usually that on Monday afternoon that we go there from 5 to 6:30 after school. We all in that school, they have a meditation room. And actually, that's the school had really embraced mindfulness. They have a meditation room. They also have meditation garden. And actually, that every day the student would do 3 minutes breathing space before they in their morning assembly before they go into their school. Okay, now that school offer their place for us so that the teachers in the North District, they do not need to travel to Hong Kong U to the south. They can go there to take class. Then we go there to teach. Okay. And also that these schools, they will also, from time to time, organize mindfulness gathering for the teachers and the parents in that school district. They became a magnet, the resource. Okay. Now, if according to the diffusion innovation theories, that we see that the innovators or the early adopters are usually make up 2.5% or 13.5% of the population, respectively. And then the remaining population consists of the early majorities, around like a 34, or maybe the late majority, another 34%, that would adopt the mindfulness as they see it as social norm. When they see, okay, these people are doing well, they try to follow suit, right? Okay. Now, when you look at the 9 resources school that we have, and also the 27 affiliated school in phase 1, we have every year we take up 9 schools. So in 3 years, we have 27 schools in the phase 1. That means, okay, now they can be considered as the innovator. That is a 3.6%, and also the early adopters, 11.5%. Okay, now, so this is a very good ground, a good proportion, a healthy proportion for the diffusion. This is how we try to see that, how we can make the impact, not only in the school that we serve, but also the other school that we do not touch or we do not serve in Hong Kong, because you can see that Hong Kong have around 900 schools, including secondary and primary schools, that our affiliated school or resource school only make up like 84%. There's still around like 800 something out there, but we hope that we can like a ripple effect, we can make the impact. Okay, now, okay, then in the teachers level, you can see that we offer the 8-week training to them, and also we offer the training so that they can be the mindfulness teachers, and also in parent level, we engage them too. And it is interesting, actually, then in last semester, when I did the mindful parenting program in one primary school, usually at the end of the course, we invite the participants to bring a little object to symbolize their journey in the last 8 weeks. Then a mom bring a little bell to the class, and she said, "This is a little gift for my son." Her son actually was a P1 student in that school, which is 6 years old. How come she got this little bell? It was because the other day she was furious and angry and very irritated when she supervised her son in doing homework. When he was really like have an anger outburst, that's her son said, "Mom, let's do a 3-minute breathing space and listen to the bell." Because in that school, you can see the synergy, because that school is our resource school. Okay, now, that school really introduced the mindfulness course to the kids. And even the 6-year-old know that when you are really, really angry, this is the time to take some deep breath and calm down. And so that the mom bring the bell to me and said that, "Wow, that I feel so lucky that my son enrolled in this school, and I have the opportunity to take your class in mindful parenting." Okay, now you can see that is the synergy. In the same school, the kids got the training, the mom got the training, the teachers got the training. Yeah, this is what we mean by school culture. Okay. Now, then of course, in the student levels, that even that's particularly can you see the picture at the left bottom of the corner? You can see that the little kid, they have put actually this is a sock, which is a panda, a little toy, a panda made from baby socks. The teachers, actually, this is something that the teachers are so creative and innovative. They got these socks very cheap, like $2 or so from Taobao. And then they put the cotton, stuff it, and then tied it up. Then it turned into a little toy, a panda toy, because in that shoes, that kind of sock, they have the patterns of a panda. Then you can see the children, the P1 student, the primary one, which is 6 years old kid, that they help them to do the chest and the belly breathing. So, okay, now feel the movement of their belly and also their chests, and they have the little toy, the PandA with them. Okay, and then in Cantonese, the teachers name this toy as 親密戰友, which is soft. 戰 this is really 戰住, okay, now something 親密戰友. And the principals allow the kid bring this toy with them. Usually toys are not allowed in classroom. The principal say yes, and also allow the kid, okay, now you can name your little toy so that they can name it Mary or John or Lucy. Okay, now this is, you can see that the student really enjoy the class. Okay, now we can see that we also do a lot of public education, engage the general public. That we can, as you say, that we have the mobile app. The mobile app have more than 35,000 downloads. We also have a lots of resources packages, and we also organize a lots of community workshops for the general public and also the helping professionals. Okay, and also we have the regular mindfulness gathering. I noticed some of you have also come in our Mindful Monday. And also, I remember 2 months ago that Dennis led the Mindful Monday with mindful eating. We have free lunch over. Okay, now here, then let's look at the research. As I said, that our project is an intervention cum research project. What we have done, we have to evaluate its effectiveness. And here is the this paper has been published in 2021. This is about the effectiveness of the mindfulness intervention for the Hong Kong teachers. Okay, now you can see that now with a psychological instruments, we can identify which teachers are at risk in mental health. Okay, now you can see that before the intervention, both the experimental group and also the waitlist control group, they have 30% red bar. That means now this is something very consistent. Do you still remember the professional teachers union? That is several years ago, they did the survey with the clinical psychology divisions. They found that 30% of the teachers have moderate to severe depression symptom, right? Here, we got the same thing. So there is a convergence. Okay, now, that's what we do is we did a randomized control trial. This is around like 200 some teachers. Around 100 of them have been randomly assigned to the first semester. That means they are the experimental group. Those who are assigned to the second semester, they are the waitlist control group. Okay, now, then we can compare them. Okay, now, okay, in September, both groups have not taken any mindfulness course. Then we measure. We see that 30% of them suffer from mental difficulties. Okay, now, but 2 months later, which is in December, after the experimental group complete the 8-week mindfulness course, we measure one more time. Then you can see that 30% all the way go down to, you can see, 30% go down to 18%. Those who are at risk. And we look at the waitlist control who have not taken the mindfulness course, increased to almost 40%. Okay. And then 2 months later, that's before the waitlist control took the class in February. We measure it one more time. That is 2 months late follow-up. We can see the effects still carry forward. Okay, now, this is a very tricky year. Actually, when I did that intervention and also do the data collection in Cantonese, it is 我熬底. That's it, I worry so much. You know why? That is the first year that our project was established. That was 2019. What happened in 2019 in September? What happened in the December of 2019? At that time, that I think that a lot of us were crying in front of the TV set, including me. When I look at the news report, I was so heartbroken. this is the place where I was born and also where I grew up, but it looks so strange. It's a strange land to me. And I feel so bad for our youngsters. But this is the time, actually, a lot of the teachers have the same feelings. So that at that time, when I collect the data, then I told my colleagues, I do not think that we have any promising results because of such extraordinary situations in Hong Kong. But when you look at that, really, that you can see that still, instead of difficult times, mindfulness still work. Even go against all the odds in the very bad situations, mindfulness can help the teachers maintain the sanity. This is something that I myself was also surprised. Okay, now 2 months later, again, 我有淆底. That means I worry again. Okay, now that is 2020 February. What happened at that time? Do you still remember? The COVID-19 broke out, and everybody had to try to scramble for the mask. And then no school, no work, no office, everything suspended. And that is the time we did the data collection. That I was also at that time very pessimistic and think that, our research will be ruined. But still, we can see that the effect is still there. Oh, what happened? Yep. I pressed the wrong button. Oh, here is it. Let me go back to that page. Okay, here's it. Okay. Now, so that I myself is convinced. Okay. And then let's look at another research. Actually, you know that because of the COVID-19, over us a very great opportunity to test the effectiveness of face-to-face and video conferencing class. You know, in 2020, then all the class had been suspended. Okay, now that at that time we worried too, so that we have a lot of meetings, trying to see what can we do. Okay, at the end we try to now within just 2 weeks, I think less than 2 weeks, we switch everything in online within 2 weeks. That business as usual. We still go on with our class, even with the COVID-19. Because of that, this is actually a randomized control trial. The first semester, the group will be the face-to-face, and the second semester, the release control, which is the video conferencing. We try to see, would there be any differences between the two? And then you can see that here, I only extract some of the result here. You can see that they are very comparable, although the group processes are different. Then those who are in the video conferencing group would like to have face-to-face, of course. And also they feel that they are somehow deprived of the very beneficial group processes. But when we look at the hard data of their mental health, still video conferencing is better than none. Okay, it's still working. Okay, now this is the second research that we have. And here that we also have the third research, which is we offer a lot of mindful parenting courses to parents. Now you can see that this is actually Dennis is the one who is the first author of this paper. That because he is the expert in mindful parenting. He's very much loved by the parents. Not me. Actually, I learned a lot from him. Okay, now when you look at the result, actually, that you have already finished the paper, and then you will next week he was going to fly to Latvia to present the result, and I only extract some of the result from his study. You can see that again that we have the pre, post, and also the 2 months later, the 2 months follow up. Then you can see that the parental stress, the orange line is the control group. And the blue line is the experimental group. That you can see that for the parental stress, the control group all the way go up. And then for the experimental group, they go down and then go up a little bit. And for the children behavior problems, this is something interesting. That you can see that there's a trickle-down effect. What we do is for the parents, but somehow the effect would indirectly influence the kid. The kid's behavior problems gets much better because of the parents taking the 8-week mindfulness course. Okay, this is always, I believe, that's why we have to do so much to make sure that the people, that we must make sure that the parents and also teachers are healthy. Okay, now this is another research. This research is about the emotion regulation, emotion care. We'll try to look into the mechanism. Now, because of the time, I do not want to do a lot because actually this is something that I would like to challenge the big boss in the field, because in the current field, the most dominant mechanism or the theory that adopted by the psychologists is the cognitivist or the top-down approach. I do not agree. I think that it is not emotion regulation that help people gain the benefit from mindfulness. I think it is another totally different set of strategies that here that I show. Here is some of the mediation analysis to show that. Okay, now that's what here are some more research that we are going to do. I will not go deep into that. Okay, now what are our contributions? That our project is a pioneer large-scale project in Chinese society that explore the benefit of mindfulness for students, teachers, and parents in school setting. And also that we try to challenge the cognitivist or the top-down model in understanding the mechanisms of mindfulness. And what would we offer? The contribution is that the results do not only pertain to the effectiveness of certain mindfulness program for students, teachers, or parents. They also unveil how mindfulness culture can be developed in schools. And last, that the new model in understanding the mechanisms of mindfulness may herald a paradigm shift in the field. Okay, that's what we hope, is that we hope that by mobilizing the existing resources in the system, we can build a mindfulness school culture that is sustainable. Even when we are closed next year, mindfulness still go on. Okay, this is what I present. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, thank you, thank you. Any question, comments? I would love to hear what you think. Yes.
I love what you read. The data as well, right? Showing the only thing is the culture. It's so difficult for teachers to begin the practice.
Yes.
They are like overlooked. Like I've delivered mindfulness in schools as well. The teachers observing the students getting relaxed, and she says, "I think I need this too."
Yes. Yes.
And yet, they don't want to participate. I am too busy. I am too overwhelmed by the work.
Yes.
How do you change that culture?
It is very, very difficult. And sometimes even that's what we try to help the teachers, that means introducing mindfulness to them, asking to come to the class itself is a stress. And itself becomes the workload. Okay, now, so that when we try to initiate or promote mindfulness in school, that we have to be very sensitive and also need to be very patient, not to be too coercive and striving. We have to really give the teachers a lot of the space and also that give them the choice, no coercion at all. And so what we try to do is, of course, we try to gain the support from the management, which is a top-down approach. That means if you get the support from the principal, that's easy. But sometimes the principal press or maybe ask the teachers to do this and that, including mindfulness. And mindfulness itself is no longer a stress-releasing kind of activity, but stress-enhancing activity. You see that? You see the paradoxes, and also you see the difficulties. So that when we have to move into, as we say, that what you say is so pregnant, that we know that. So that when we go into the school, we make sure that it is voluntary, and really they love it, and also give a lot of space and try to make that what we call the bottom up approach instead of top down. For example, okay, now what we did is, you know that every year we have around like 300 places for the 8-week mindfulness courses. Usually 500 teachers who try to apply in Scramble for these 300 places. Of course, that we have to assign the place for our affiliated school, which is our partner school. But I'll tell you the secret. Actually, you can tell some of the teachers if they really want to get the places from us, because we have already opened the recruitment. Okay, now here I will use a Cantonese to say that, and then I'll try to translate into English if I can. We use a policy called 西瓜靠大邊. What does it mean? That means we try to look for the critical mass. Okay, now even that, usually the school that are not our affiliated school will have lower priority to get the place. But if we see at least 3 or 4, even 5 teachers coming from the same school who volunteer to join our program or join our school, we give them. Okay, because they are the critical mass. 二人同行, 有減價. The concessions, if you have, we have concessions for 2 or 3. Okay, the bundle sale, we love that because we know that these teachers, when they volunteer without the demand from their principals, the management, they come to us. That means they really want to know more about it. They love it. So that we really give them the priority so that they can come. And even in the past, we really be successful by using this bottom-up approach. That means we particularly assign places to the school with more than 2 or 3 teachers applying. And 1 or 2 years later, that school become our affiliated school because the teachers convince their principals to join our program.
Good.
Okay, it takes time,
Yeah.
it takes many years, and also we have to move gingerly.
Yeah. One comment you have mentioned about this mindfulness is to stop you not to worry about the future and not to regret about the past. But what happens if at present, if they are suffering? How does the mindfulness help them?
Okay, now this is a very good question. Very good questions. Okay, now, practicing mindfulness is not a matter of fakai. That means what we call it a kind of passiveness. Okay, usually that's when we are under a lot of stress, or maybe I should say that during the sufferings, we have a lot of reaction, like the fight, flight, and freeze reactions. What we call it automatic piloting. That when we are angry, we try to fight. When we see that my child is not working on his homework, I will have a lot of anger. Okay, now, or maybe I see that some failure that I myself suffer, then I will try to really retreat, withdraw. Okay, now, this is what we call the automatic piloting, or maybe we are somehow that trapped by our habit. Mindfulness give us a space. Okay, now, do not make the judgment at this moment, because the judgment you make at that time usually would be tainted by your habit and your automatic piloting. Okay, now, so that we have ABC in mindfulness. A is awareness. That means aware of your emotion, aware that I'm angry, aware that I'm suffering, aware that I would like to hit somebody. Okay. B, being with. That means, okay, now, sustain your judgment, non-judgmental. Have a space so that you can be away from your automatic reaction. regain your freedom to make choice. Okay, now, C is choice. A, awareness. B, being with. And C is the choice. The choice is judgment. But the judgment is no longer the judgment that you have at the first moment. Because this is something that you have the freedom. This is the response, not reaction. Or maybe that in Chinese classic, 大学, the Greek learning, there's a saying, I try to use it I don't know how well I can translate it to English. I try my best. They said that 知止而後有定，定而後能靜，靜而後能安，安而後能慮，慮而後能得。That means when you are not calm, that you cannot think clearly. When you cannot think clearly, that you will always mess up.
Yeah.
Okay, now so that you say that suffer, failure. Okay, now a lot of difficulties. Yes. There's no guarantee that mindfulness practitioner can be away from suffering and failure. Okay, and all sorts of difficulties. But what makes a difference is that from the serenity, from the calmness, that you're no longer controlled by your automatic reaction. You have the free choice.
The D. I'm waiting for the D. You say A, B, C, D, thumbs up. So what is D?
Where's the D?
No, where's the D? No. I mean the D. I don't mean where's the D. I mean I'm sorry.
You are the associate.
No. What is the D? You say A, B, C, D.
ABC only.
Oh, ABC only.
Okay.
You should create a D then. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any other? Yes. Please. Identify yourself. She's a Chinese medical doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Professor Lam. Thank you so much for your introduction. I'm a PhD student from Social Work Department. And I have two questions. The first one is following by Professor Yip's question. Is since we find that actually there are like lots of mindfulness research this year, but as you just said, that most of them are focusing on the adults, and we also find some neuroscience study proved that it's great for the adults in practicing mindfulness. But since the adolescents, their like brain functions or their brain structures, probably they have some differences between the adults. So, but still like not very solid evidence show that like maybe the mindfulness could create to the same effects for the adolescents as the adults. So like how could we like to prove when we are like conducting mindfulness training for the adolescents, they could still reach to a positive effect? Or is there any possible, because I also heard that maybe for adolescents, like mindfulness maybe creates not positive effects, but negative effects. So is that possible, or have you ever seen that?
I think that you refer to Myriad projects in England. Okay, now that is a fiasco, really. And actually, from that failing experience, that we learn a lot. I think that one of the major reasons why it doesn't work is because all the students are not voluntary. Okay, that they are conscripted participant, number one. And number two is actually that the teacher themselves may not be really mindfulness practitioners. Okay, now in a large scale research like the Myriad in England, I think that they suffer from these two major difficulties. But if you look at individual programs, and actually there's a lot of evidence showing the effects on children and adolescents, I will refer you to read a study done by a group of researchers in Boston School District. Okay, now that is Bauer, B-A-U-E-R, Bauer, in 2019. They introduced an 8-week mindfulness program to the 5th graders. Okay, now they use functional MRI. They look into the pre and post data. they found that only 8 weeks of course, they can see that the mindfulness can reduce the blood level, the oxygen blood level of the amygdala of these 5th graders. Okay, now they show them some fearful faces. Usually, children, when they see the fearful faces, they themselves also get irritated and also being fearful too. Okay, now, compared to the control group, which take the computer coding course instead of the mindfulness course, this group of kids, the 10 to 11 years old, after 8 weeks of mindfulness program, when they look at the fearful faces, they're no longer fearful. That's the amygdala would be much calm. Okay, now not so irritated. And also that their self-reported stress level is much lower. So that when you look at, of course, this is something that you have to done with really a lot of what you call the internal validity. Make sure that every step in this small scales of program is done properly. And I think that's still a lot of the good results for those programs. But I think you refer to the Myriad project is because it's just a very big scale. And also, very difficult to collect data in big scale, in particular field experiment. Even in our projects, you can see that what I present is the data from the parent and also the teachers. Okay, not from the student yet, because I have to back the school teachers to let me do the randomized control trial in the school setting. Usually they say, very, very difficult. I cannot randomly assign students to the experimental group and control group. No, we cannot do so. So even in the Myriad project, it's not randomized control trial. Okay, and also when it became so big scale that a lot of the things that you cannot really control. But if you try to look into just 1 or 2 individual programs, usually you can see the effects on the adolescent and also on children.
Good.
Okay, thank you so much for your sharing. And another question is about the professionalism of the mindfulness teacher or the tutors, because I think for lots of us, we also learn mindfulness in our course. But if you see that we could also be called like a mindfulness practitioner, but things. Mindfulness is so common nowadays, and also lots of researchers are very interested in doing mindfulness research. Then how we could evaluate one is good enough to lead a mindfulness practice or mindfulness technique? Because not only we know that MBSR or IMCBT, they have some certificated course, but except for that, there are also lots kind of mindfulness-based techniques. For those kind of techniques, how we could be pretty sure that the leader is good enough, because there is also not any legal certifications for those tutors. Then maybe what if those who are not good enough to lead a mindfulness practice and then maybe cause some bad effects, or maybe they are good enough but still cause some bad effect or make their mental disorders even more worse. Then how we could make sure that our intervention can do no harm? Yeah, thank you.
Your question is a $1 million question. A very good question. Actually, you know that when mindfulness became so hard, it became mindfulness. McDonald's. That you need quick, and also the fast food kind of things. And a lot of the people try to ride on the tide and develop many so-called mindfulness courses to get money. And I have seen a lot of like this. Okay, now, what we can do is, number one, look into the lineage. It is important to see what kind of mindfulness courses are this in front of you. Okay, now, if it is MBCT, MBSR, or maybe W foundations, they come with a very stringent training pathway. They have the certifications, they have the supervisions, also that they are evidence-based, they have a lot of the research support. okay, now then you will feel safe. Okay, now these are the good program. But there is something maybe like what to say, mindfulness well-being program, or maybe mindful kids program, whatever. I do not. There's a lot of something like this, very kind of charlatans kind of programs. Then we do not know their career path and how they were trained, so that we become very conservative. Or for example, like, actually today we just have one inquiry. So difficult, you know. During the summer, in July, that our project is going to launch 4 days and 3 days mindfulness teachers training in here, in this 11th floor, over there in function room. Okay, now we have the open recruitment. And then the requirement, the prerequisite would be, you have to be a teachers or maybe having professionals. Okay, now you can apply that. You must complete 8-week mindfulness course before you can become a teacher. Okay, now this is the very, very basic and very minimal requirement. But still, there's a teachers call us today and saying that she would like to enroll in our teacher training course, and they present us a certificate. When I look at the names of that organizations and also the names of that title, then I told my colleagues, no way that we cannot offer her the place, because this course is very dubious. Very dubious. And I understand that so-called center offer, as you know, okay, now the standard practice are like this. What they do is give them every participant have to pay $7,000 for 4 days of Zoom teaching. And then that's the leader of the center, can certify you as the mindfulness teacher. Okay, now this is what they do.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you. No way.
Then
Okay.
you can charge 10,000.
So that, and actually that today we have to really be very skillful when we aim this to this disappointed teacher.
Yeah.
No, we cannot accept you, because the course that you have completed is not really a mindfulness course, and it's not an 8-week entry program. Then I would advise, if you would really want to take our course as a teacher, have to take another one.
Yeah.
Come back next year.
Yeah. I think the quality assurance is always very important. I mean, so the GIGO. Okay. Any other question? Yes, please.
Like, what have been your experiences in encouraging teachers, students, and parents to practice mindfulness in their own time, like apart from the 8-week program?
Do you practice mindfulness by
Yes.
yourself
Yes.
every day?
Yes.
Okay, for how long?
Not long, only 20 minutes a day.
And it works.
It works.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and also that I try to incorporate it into my daily activities. Like every other day, I jog for 3 km in the morning, and then I do my mindfulness over there. Yeah, and also that, of course, in the evening that I will sit for like maybe 10 minutes or so, and then also that I incorporate in my mindful walking, and also okay now number one, I think it is important for the practitioner to enjoy the practice and do not see it as a chores. If they see that as a chores or obligations or something must do, they will not enjoy it. First of all, try to make those experiences enjoyable and also accessible, so that we make our mobile phone app with all the audio soundtracks and everything is ready for them. And also that we try to, for example, when doing the 8-week, we try to make it, even that I use the record form, which is their experience form. After they have done their practice, they write down what their experience looked like, and I use it as a vehicle to communicate with them, to engage them, so that it is not just something a chores to complete. It is something interesting. It is something helpful where they enjoy. Okay. Even after they have completed the 8-week program. Then we offer monthly gathering. Okay, now come to practice together, not just individually at home, but as a group with a sangha that support each other. And every year we offer residential retreats. That you have 3 days of silence retreat where you can really, I love it. It's like a paradox. You do not need to have eye contact with people. You do not need to say anything. Just with rendezvous, the appointment with your own self. This is really a time to reset your entire machine. And this is something enjoyable. Okay, now, if these practices are enjoyable, then they would do it. If you think you present those practices as a chores and obligations, as an exercise and must do, no one would want to do it. Make it fun, make it enjoyable. Start small, and also over the conditions, which is convenience for them.
Just as a matter of course, when you say mindful walking, what do you mean? We walk and then
Yes, we do mindfulness during walking.
how do you do it? Just in a nutshell.
Okay, now come to our mindfulness.
No, I really like to see. No, how do you walk anymore?
And even that Dennis is going to lead the Mindful Monday on mindful jogging, right? In November. That's what he's
No, I'm trying to practice my mindful swimming. Because I swim every morning. So I said, how can I do the swimming and then mindfulness? Anyway, that would be interesting. Anyway, yes.
Both are beneficiaries of mindfulness education. I'm not sure whether it's from Hong Kong Jockey Club. So my question is, what do you want to achieve in this 5-year program from Hong Kong Jockey Club? By numbers or by outreach? What's the objective? What would you consider this as success? That's suicide rate.
Of course, if it is Jockey Club officer, ask me that question. I have to tell them the figures. Okay, how many schools completed? How many students completed? How many teachers get trained? Okay. But if I can get away from all these statistics, that I will tell you my dream. What I hope is that I hope that mindfulness can be sustainable even after our project is closed in 2025, next year. Okay, now I hope that there is a considerable numbers of teachers who know mindfulness, benefit from mindfulness, and who can teach mindfulness. And I also hope that there is a considerable number of helping professionals, the social workers, the educational psychologists who can continue the teaching of mindfulness in their capacity, in their usual capacity. That means they do not need to ask for extra money to run those services because it is already their job. Okay, now that this is already in their service repertoire. Just that's empower them. Okay, now, and also that this is the 2 hopes, and also the another one is that I still hope that those resources school or the resources hub, they can still go on as the role model in their districts and offering the support to other schools. So that this is my dream. Okay, now that I'm not telling you the number, but I'll only tell you that I will say a considerable number. And I hope that there will be sustainability.
Yeah, then mindful will become the DNA of the schools. So whether the program goes, I always say that it's not the program make the differences, it's the DNA. Once we change the school culture.
Take about 1 generation of primary.
It takes time.
I think there's a lot of outreach. I'm not sure whether that's on the commercial side or on the reading side. But as far as I know as a parent, most of the programs that both my schools, my son's school, with the PTA, there's no touch with that.
Yeah, good. That's good.
I think if you can collect the data for those school practice mindfulness, if they do not have any student kill themselves, I think that would be I will buy in.
Okay, okay.
I will contribute our resources because we are working so hard, to keep the suicide rate down. Anyway, yes, so I know time is.
Your time is going up.
Yeah, you can have the last
The
question.
last question.
Yeah.
Thanks for your sharing, and I'm a social worker. Actually work with the youngster for like around 6 years. And I'm just wondering if there's any like advice or any suggestions for the teacher, because when they need to like conduct a mindful program or activities in the class, they need to face a lot of like tension or different situation. For example, there are like students were having like SEN or some MI problems, etc. And I once encountered like a mindful program when I conduct program, and there's like a girl who suddenly like having some emotional outbursts of the singing bowl, so all of a sudden. And I'm just wondering, because you need to like launch the program all around different school, and the students they usually like an integration. We cannot like tutor the student, and I feel like it's quite challenging for teachers as well.
Yeah.
And that's my problem, because I really appreciate, because I really want to like spread the mindful culture around school, or because I work in the hospital before, and I try to like see if it's possible to like cultivate the culture in the hospital, because the problematic youngster always live in the hospital without family support, everything.
I see, yeah.
But I think it's quite difficult indeed.
Yeah. You have raised a very good questions. In face of all these difficulties and challenges, my advice would be patience, patience, and patience. That means even that we have the very evangelical kind of mindset, try to really promote mindfulness, but if the conditions are not ready, for example, like you have 10 kids, all of them are ADHD, or one would be have MI difficulties, and also, okay, they are not ready to be in a group taking the mindfulness course. Don't insist. Don't insist. Really, that's okay now. This actually is also a mindfulness attitude. If we are being so striving, very coercive, okay now, serving whose needs? My needs or the kids' needs? Okay now, what we have to do is that we have to assess whether the conditions are there, whether they are ready to take the mindfulness course. When the conditions are not mature, don't be so striving. Okay, now, having said that, doesn't mean that we are very passive and you have to fold our arms and wait for the right conditions. No, but actually that what we can do is to try to nurture the condition that contribute to the change. Okay, trying to see, okay, now, stepping back, this is really my mindfulness practice. Stepping back and look at the difficulty that we are facing. What can ease the problems? What can help? Okay, now try to look at those conditions. For examples, okay, now maybe having good relationship with that particular child without anger outbursts may be helpful. Okay, then trying to develop a very good and trustworthy relationship with that child. Okay, now this is one of the conditions. Or maybe because the group size is too big. Okay, perhaps make it smaller so that the children will feel safer in this small setting. Okay, now this is another conditions. Okay, now what we have to do is not to be striving, but neither are we passive and waiting, but we try to be, okay, now having a state ABC again. Awareness, being with, and then make a choice. The choice is, okay, think about what kind of conditions are required to make that happen. We cannot demand or make changes right away. We can never do that. What we have to do is to nurture the conditions that contribute to that change.
Okay, thanks much.
Good.
Good.
I'm mindful of the time.
Yes.
So, Dennis and Michael, did you have anything to say? I mean, you're the team. Okay. All right. Do you have any final words to say?
Time for dinner.
Time for dinner, right? So we,
Mindful eating.
yeah. That means that doesn't have to say anything, and then you put your grape there and then chewing for 5 minutes before you throw them down. Right?
To our mindful. Okay.
Yeah, I need to be re-educated. But certainly, I think we all learn take time to look after ourselves. I mean, mindfulness is something that's I think we to promote the well-being. I think of ourselves and then the society as well. Now let's think the. And then for announcement, I think our KE series, I think, go to the summer break, and then but we are going to resume, I think, in September, and then we are going to let you have more information. So please leave down your contact information if you want to learn more about or what happened in the faculty, and then we are more welcome for you to join. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.